In RuneScape, bosses are extremely profitable, but a lot of them rely on big RNG. As an example, killing Raksha is technically like 65 mil per hour or more, but 50 million of this GP per hour comes with the eventual thought that you'll get a greater ricochet or greater chain codexes on drop rate. Now, while this is likely if you do a ton of kills at Raksha, it's more likely that you're gonna have a lot of hours that make you like 5 mil or 10 mil, and then eventually you'll have a few huge hours later on if you get the big drop that makes you like 1 bill in the hour. But what if you just want consistent money without a ton of RNG involved? Well, then this video is for you. I'm going to quickly be going over a bunch of ways that you can make consistent money in RuneScape 3. These money makers will follow a few rules. They are consistent in terms of the GP per hour. They don't rely on super rare drops to boost the GP per hour up massively, and they also have been mostly consistent money for years, meaning that if a lot of people start doing these, they probably won't crash too hard, if at all. Starting with one of my favorite ways to make money that some people overlook is killing Glacors. Now, Glacors are slayer creatures that you can kill after the Ritual the Majorat quest, and while they used to be killed for their rare boots, now the money is actually to be made from the more consistent drop of these shards of Armadil. Now, these shards are dropped very commonly at essentially a 1 in 10 drop rate, and every hour you're usually going to get around 10 to 15 of these shards depending on your speed. Sometimes you could even get more. Now, once you get 100 of these, so maybe about 5 to 10 hours of killing these depending on your kill speed, you'll be able to make these into an Armadil battle staff, which currently goes for around 150 to 200 mil because its special attack is just so good in an EOF. So there's really no RNG involved in this. The shards are so common that you basically just need to commit to grinding for around 10 hours and you'll be guaranteed around 15 to 25 mil per hour on those hours depending on your kill speeds. So honestly, for me, it's a really fun monster to kill for consistent money. And oh yeah, you could get a boot drop, which will be a nice addition to your GP, but I didn't factor that into the GP per hour at all. And hey, if you like making money, make sure you subscribe so you can get all my money makers right away. Now, another method that I really enjoy is Elite Dungeon 1. Now, I'm sure you guys know about it. Its final boss is Siryu, which drops the Ancient Scales. Now, these scales are consistent, so if you're soloing, you are guaranteed 4 scales, but on average, you should get around 12 every single run. Now, when I say on average, I don't mean after doing a million runs. It's not too inconsistent that you're going to be getting like 81 run, 41 run, 61 run, 41 run. Like, you're usually going to average around 12 per run, after doing a few hours of this. You also get this steady drops of the relics and all the loot from actually running the Elite Dungeon, so you're going to be looking at around 28 mil per hour on average if you can manage 2 runs per hour. But if you can do 3 runs an hour, which I know is hard, you can get up to 45 mil per hour. Now, the RNG, like I said, isn't that huge at all. You'll get the consistent scales. Yes, sometimes you can get more, like a huge drop of 80 or something, but it's easily going to even out around that number every run. So you're not going to get that dreaded feeling that you're going dry during Elite Dungeon 1. You're not going to feel bad, if you like for Ambassador, for instance. I've seen people do tons of hours and not get that rare drop, which essentially you're going to be making pretty bad GP if you do that. But with Siryu, it's different. You're always going to be making a good amount of money each and every run, which is why it's just such a nice and consistent money maker, which is why I recommend it and why it is on this list. So next we have binding contracts, which are great consistent money because there's actually so many binding contracts you can do that are useful. So if one doesn't work, then you can go and make the other. Now, you need to complete the Dagon Buy mystery from Archaeology, and these pouches require various summoning levels to make, and of course you'll need the level to kill the Slayer mobs. Now, of course, first you'll have to make these binding contracts. You can make them easily at an obelisk with Blood of Orcus, Hellfire Metal, and Blue Charms. So you're going to need Blue Charms for this, but you can make these actually super fast if you use the Taverly Shop method, which I recently used in my video, where you sell and then buy your materials back. So you basically never have to bank. It costs a tiny bit more, but not too much at all. You're going to be making way more profit than you're spending to do this, so it's definitely worth the extra little bit of money. Now for this, you can make things like Ripper Demon pouches, Hellhound pouches, Water Fiend pouches, simply by killing the creature of the pouch you want to make with these pouches in your inventory. Another one is Calgerian Demons. I found at one point that Hellhounds were making me over like 30 mil per hour, so I did those a lot. Now Ripper Demons are usually the most consistent here because they're used so much. They'll make you around 15 to 20 mil per hour, although they're a bit harder to kill than the other mobs. Then you have things like the Water Fiends, which are just much easier to kill and can easily net you around 15 to 20 mil per hour. So no matter the pouch you're going to be making, you're going to get some nice consistent money doing these binding contracts, and I did factor in the time it takes to basically make the pouches into this, so that's factored in too. So you'll be making a little bit more if you already have the pouches, because then you don't have to go make them, but if you need to make them, don't worry, that's factored in here as well. So this is a great method too, with a lot of different options and just very consistent. Now next we actually have a skilling method, which is crafting water runes through the abyss. Now for this, you're going to need a variety of different skills. Of course, you're going to need a high Runecrafting level of like 95. You'll need the large pouches. You'll basically need all the pouches, so small through massive. If you want, you can use a demonic skull. This will give you, more chance at the magical thread. That is the tiny little RNG component, but not really, because they're not, insanely rare. You're usually going to get the same amount of thread per hour. Sometimes it might differ a little, but if you have all the stuff like the Abyssal Titan, the Infinity Ethereal outfit, you'll need a power burst of sorcery potion. You can do a ton of runs per hour, sometimes up to 100, and on average you're going to make around 15 to 20 mil per hour doing this. Now most of the money, I'd say about 80% of the money, is going to come from the water runes, of course, and then a small portion, 20% or so, is going to come from the magical thread, but the magical thread is pretty consistent. Now if you're not using a wilderness skull, you're going to get less per magical thread, but it's not a huge part. It might just drop this down to like 15 mil per hour instead of like 18 to 20 mil an hour, so you don't need to use the skull if you don't want to. But as with most skilling methods, this doesn't rely on RNG at all, so you're going to make a consistent amount of money every single hour doing this. Now the next method, you guys know if you've seen some of my older videos, is something I love to do, and that is clue scrolls, but specifically easy clue scrolls. Now easy clue scrolls are super easy to get. You most notably get them from ham members. You can pickpocket them. Now the GP per hour rate is going to depend on what you have unlocked, because if you have the 99 thieving cape and the sticky fingers relic, you can basically auto pickpocket and note all the drops from the ham members. So this means gathering a bunch of easy clues is going to be super fast. You're going to get them very, very easily, and the gathering process is not going to take you long at all. Now if you also have a bunch of teleports unlocked, the Globetrotter outfit, doing these easy clues is just going to be an absolute breeze. They're just really fast. If you have the treasure totem as well, these clues, you're going to breeze through them in absolutely no time. And the nice thing about easy clues, no, they don't have that huge drop, but we're not after that RNG drop. We are after the consistent money, and that's exactly what easy clues are going to get you. Right now, fortunate components are around 1.4 to 1.5 mil each, and you get these fortunate components like crazy doing easy clues, and since easy clues are so fast to do, you're going to end up piling a ton of them up super fast and just getting so many fortunate components. When done right and having all the unlocks, this method can easily make you over 25 mil an hour. I'd say that's pretty conservative if you have everything unlocked. If you are missing some things, maybe it takes you longer to gather the clues, maybe you're a little slower doing the clues, you don't have the Globetrotter outfit or all the teleports, you can still very consistently make 10 to 15 mil an hour very easily, and more than likely you're going to make more than that, and you can probably definitely go over this 25 mil per hour mark if you are, super fast and just have everything unlocked, because you really speed through these. So do not sleep on easy clues. They're, easy, and they're very good money. Next is killing frost dragons. Now a lot of people know about frost dragons. I actually made a guide on them back like 10 years ago that's no longer on YouTube, but I remember them being something that I camped pre-EOC, and they're still very good money. The bones are worth quite a bit, and now you can kill them actually extremely fast. But something that has changed the game for these these is the Advanced Bone Crusher. So the upgraded Bone Crusher, of course, this requires chimes to G2. You have to basically do some of the arc to get this, but once you get this, it's super nice because it will automatically pick up the bones from frost dragons for you, so you don't have to go and click and pick these up. You could just focus on killing as many frost dragons as you can, and then you just note them with magic note paper. You run around the room, kill them, and get these bones, and it's just a very fast and consistent method. At modest times, you're going to be making around 10 mil an hour, maybe up to 15 mil per hour. If you're very fast, you know, have a perfect cycle, you maybe have like a power burst potion, you're sprinting around killing these super fast, you can probably get upwards of 20 mil an hour, but I'm just saying 10 to 15 for the sake of this video. But honestly, if you're in the need of some quick cash and you want to just grind 2 or 3 hours, make like 30-40 mil, these are really easy to do and just really consistent money. Now next is something that you might not think about when you think of like, oh, a consistent money making method, but this is like doing your daily run every day. So now there are a ton of things you can do daily. Maybe spend like 30 minutes on, you can even maybe spend an hour on if you include some of the new stuff. So daily runs consist of doing a farm run, doing Viswax, doing your portables, doing a quick shop run. You can very easily make 5 to 10, maybe even 15 mil in a day, maybe spending 30 minutes to an hour doing this. So it's basically a way to make quite a bit of money, and you're only spending a little bit of time, and it's consistent as they come. You're going to be able to do this every day for good money. And now with the new wilderness flash events, you can basically go and do these, maybe the special events, maybe 2-3 times a day. It'll maybe take you a half hour, and I got around 5 mil from doing my 3 events. And of course, there's always a chance for the new enhancements. Now, they are rare, they are RNG, and I'm not going to include them into the GP per hour here, but they are a lot of money, so keep that in mind when you're doing these as well. So daily runs, I'll leave a link to my full guide in the description, but these are just as consistent as they come. You don't have to do them every day, even if you maybe do them, you know, maybe do them on the weekend, maybe that's all you have time to do them on. You're still going to make a decent amount of money for not much work at all, so I had to mention these here. Very consistent. And finally, as the last real moneymaker, I will have an honorable mention after this, but I wanted to mention Nihils. Now, Nihils are a Slayer creature that you can kill, and you can actually kill these quite fast if you use the right method. Using Chinchampas, rounding them up around the room and chinning them down is going to get you a ton of kills per hour. And the reason these are so good is because they drop basically the materials used to make Nihil pouches. So Nihil pouches actually go for quite a bit of money. I remember I was trying to buy one the other day and it wouldn't buy for 400k each. So they do fluctuate a little, but they're always going to net you around that 150 to 200k mark per pouch. And Nihils, in my opinion, are extremely underrated. They've been in the game for quite a while. The pouches are usually always going to be used because there's those bosses that you need that accuracy. I guess if we ever get to where we have like tier 99 weapons and armor, we might not need that, but they're very useful at a lot of places. So Grace of the Elves is also extremely useful because it will bank the little components needed to make the Nihil summoning pouches, so you don't have to, you know, do that yourself. You don't have to yak them back or anything like that. And basically the main thing is if you get good enough gear or items that you can go to the middle, basically round them all up and then AoE them down, whether that be with chins or AoE abilities, you can probably make up to like 30 to 40 mil an hour if you do this. Now, however, those have higher requirements, so if you're just killing them normally, you can still make a good 10, 15, 20 mil an hour. So these definitely have a huge ceiling of making like 40 mil an hour if you get the AoE method down. But if not, you're still going to make like 15 to 20 mil an hour very consistently, because what we're after again is those pouches. Very consistent money, and something I will hopefully make a full guide on soon. Now lastly is something that I wanted to do as an honorable mention because it does include some RNG. So this is Solak. This is a high level method. It's a high level boss, but a change that they made it so grimoire pages are guaranteed every kill. So if you kill 6 to 7 Solak an hour, you're going to make around 35 to 40 mil an hour, if not more, from, you know, all the normal drops like coins, quorms, rune salvage, stuff like that. So just by the normal loot, if you never get a rare drop from Solak, if you can manage 6 to 7 kills an hour, you're gonna make a nice 40 mil or more. Now that Solak is soloable, you don't need to find a team. If you can manage to do this yourself, you're gonna make that consistent 30 to 40 mil an hour, not including the rare drops. Of course, with the rare drops, this almost doubles, but I wanted to mention it here just at the end because I find it interesting that it is sort of in that ED1 area where you're always going to make consistent money, as long as grimoire pages don't crash too much, but they're pretty in demand, so I don't think they're going to go down too much. They might dip a little bit now that you can solo it and now that they're basically guaranteed every kill, but still, Solak is definitely consistent money even if you don't get those rare drops. So I hope this video helped you guys out. If you're maybe looking after some more AFK methods, make sure you check out my ultimate AFK money making guide with tons of different methods. I think 10 plus methods ranging from AFK bosses to AFK skilling that can make you a lot of money. It's right here on the screen, and yeah, I will see you all in the next video.